Hi everyone, I am Jessica with PASS, Prevention Awareness Support Services, and we work with our local mental health and services board in Allen, Auglaize, and Hardin counties. I am the RRR coordinator, and what RRR is Refuse, Remove, and Reasons. It is a substance abuse and addiction prevention program that was written evidence-based, so scientific facts. It has facts behind everything for grades 7 through 12. And I typically am focusing on our middle schools within those three counties and what RRR would look like if it was at your school would be 45-minute sessions for 5 days. So there's 5 days of 45-minute sessions for each subject. So we have Monday, let's say, we start out with alcohol, tobacco, or nicotine products. We start with a video and we move into looking at things like where our youth get their messages from. So we kind of break down where they get their messages from. And we look at music, social media, drive-thrus, carryouts, movies, those types of things, family, friends, because we know that alcohol is still the #1 abused substance within our teens. And when I ask them, they are like, hey, it's easy to get. It's a lot of times in our refrigerators. It's socially accepted. It is legal for those over 21. So we look at why. Why should they not take part in these things or drink or those types of things? And it all comes down to, we look at their developing brain. So the developing adolescent brain is harmed, and their decision-making processes are harmed when adding substance like these to themselves. So they're going to get ways to refuse and why and how to remove themselves. We also look at day number 2, which would be marijuana. And in the previous years, this was a very controversial subject. I have a lot more open conversations now, not so much kickback. We talk about, we start with a video and then we do a true and false quiz where we can break things down. It shows, what THC is doing to the developing brain, why it's not safe for them, why just because somebody says it's not a hard drug, so it's not that bad, why they shouldn't be using this. We look at K2 or spice, which is the synthetic form, and how it is not a safe alternative. We kind of talk about how, how do we know that there's nothing being added to the marijuana that you're getting? And the difference between medical and recreational is in there as well. So we have the third day, which focuses on over-the-counter drugs and prescription drugs being abused, and a significant over-the-counter drug being abused or substance being abused is legal lean, is what they call it. So what they do is they mix a high dose of over-the-counter cough syrup, and they mix it with something such as like Sprite and flavor it with Jolly Ranchers. So that's legal lean. Lean is ultimately what they want, and that is a prescription cough syrup, and they mix it just like they would legal lean and drink it. We have what we know, the opiate crisis. We have a lot of Xanax being used within the youth and adolescents. So we also look at pressures and how they can, what else they can do to de-stress rather than turning to substances. So then on the 4th day, which would be, let's say Thursday, we talk about heroin and other illegal substances. So we see a mother who unravels ultimately her son's battle of addiction. and how he lost his life. He didn't just wake up that morning and decide to be a heroin addict. He had used other substances that ultimately led to his death. He didn't know how to deal with the stress and pressures in his life, and began using other coping mechanisms or substances. And then on Friday, so day 5, we look at the consequences. So we watched a video, a true story of a few teens who had made some choices and now are paying the consequences. They're paying the price. And we look at risky activities. So when taking a risk, it can lead to a whole life-changing outcome. But we also look at good risks. So we know that we have risks we're taking. So we look at the difference with those, and we look at how the outcomes can be and what makes people take these risks and why. And we look at how they're going to refuse and remove themselves. We look at these facts, this evidence, in order to back up what they're learning. So that is a short wrap up of, the RRR program, and I hope that you enjoy.